Alright, so I'm at cross-side position with my opponent. This week we're looking at cross-side. And what I want to focus on today is the ability for me to control my opponent's hips and his shoulders. Again, I'm looking at the rectangle that represents the four corners of his hips and his shoulders. So my knees are tight to his hips, especially the knee at the hip. My right knee in this case, and my left knee can be anywhere past his shoulder, in his armpit, or even near his head based upon the technique that I'm doing. Now Sean's going to have what's called a belt line control of my waist, and my left hand will be around his head, palm down, and his left arm is palm up in my armpit. Now I'm going to connect with my right hand, my underhook, controlling this arm, and then lock my hands down in a gable grip. Now for this particular technique, what I'd like to do is utilize his lapel of his left side of his gi as a way of controlling his arm that's in front of me. The function of Sean's left arm, if I try and bury my chest down hard, he can drive up and drive his shoulder into me. Now, if I can utilize something on his gi to control that arm, now a lot of people do this as a way of setting up the controls. Now, sometimes when I'm teaching a technique or I have guys competing, I talk about them being greedy. And if we're able to establish and control all of his defenses prior to us attacking, it can be a really good option for us. Alright? So his arms are in place. I'm going to take away his side control defenses. First thing, I'm going to open up my hands. My left hand is going to control his armpit, and it might even grab the fabric if I wish. And my right hand comes back, and I'm going to pull his lapel out. Now, a standard Bravo control is where I would maybe pull him and I pop it and I feed it under his elbow. This is a very solid control, but it does nothing to control this arm that he's pushing up into my neck. So by taking the lapel and putting it over his wrist, right, can help me control. And then I transfer the control to the arm behind the head. Now you can see how his arm is trapped. Trying to get your hand free, Sean? It's pretty much stuck, right? All right, now, some things to avoid. Don't go over the elbow. Don't get too tight to the wrist. Come right in the center. Now, if I want to really get this tight, I come under his elbow, transfer, and pull down on this, and then transfer. So now it just got a little tighter, didn't it, buddy? So now this arm is really, really taut, and it's going to have a hard time. Now he cannot push up on me, and I can even get my chest heavier onto him. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the belt line control. I'm going to do that by using my right hand as a base, and I'm going to slide my left knee down and put my right knee under his legs, making his hips turn away from me as well as his knees. Now my right hand is there to keep him from rolling me just in case. So now my left leg is tight to his body, and I slide my knee up his back. Now you can see now that his arm is completely caught, and I'm bringing the elbow of the arm that's controlling his forearm to the inside of my knee. So now, both his defenses that he set up earlier are controlled. This can be very, very difficult for Sean, and you can see that my right hand now is free. I'm going to take my hand, even if he brought his legs up, and I'm now going to pin his legs sideways. So now his legs are controlled, his arms are controlled, and now I can move to an attack posture without any worry of him having any ability to defend. So the first option I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right leg and step over my arm, and so my foot is now near the control of the lapel. I simply transfer, grab control, and I can come to a mounted triangle position. From this position, I bring my elbow back, I bring my body up, and I can go into an inverted kimura. Also, I have the ability to do an arm crush, or if he starts to turn, I can go into a standard triangle control from the inverted position. So, multiple attacks from the same position. Another option that I have, which is my favorite, is called the dockside armbar. I take the lapel, bring it over, pull it tight. I can use my hand to get it a little tighter. Good. Run the legs now. Push your legs down. This time when I step over, maybe his hand is now blocking my leg from getting tight to his neck. And this is something he can easily do. If he takes his hand out, I'm going to a triangle. But if his hand's blocking, I can plant my hand beside him, and I bring my leg over his head, and I submit him with an arm bar of the arm that's extended. I can either lay back, leg comes in front, and as soon as my leg comes in front and I bring my knee down, it's submitting Sean. So multiple ways to submit with that particular control position. All right, guys, here we go. Let's try it.